Daf Yomi, Tractate Menachot, page 78a. Top of the page, the words Amar Yitzchak Ba Avdimi. Very top of the page, first words on the page actually. Amar Yitzchak Bar Avdimi Tihiena Kesiv Ema Asora Kafize Amarove Esroinois Deberakos. Rav Yitzchak Bar Avdimi said, "They shall be," Tihiena is written with two instances of the letter Yud. The superfluous Yud, whose numerical value is 10, is interpreted to indicate that the loaves of leavened bread of the thanks offering must be prepared from 10 tenths of flour. The Gemara raises an objection. Say that superfluous Yud indicates that the loaves must be prepared with 10 half cup, smaller measure than 10/10 of an ephah. Rava says one cannot say this since the verse habitually spoke of tenths of an ephah and not of other measures. Makes sense. Got to keep it consistent with what we're talking about. Okay, very good. Continue. Let's continue. Lamadnu esora lachometz esora lamatz minayin. The Gemara continues its analysis of the Braita. We have learned that there are 10 tenths of an ephah of fine flour for the loaves of leavened bread accompanying the thanks offering. From where is it derived? There are 10 tenths of an ephah for the 30 loaves of matzah. The verse states, with cakes of leavened bread, after mentioning the 3 types of matzah accompanying the thanks offering. Leviticus 7:12-13, indicating that one must bring the matzah in a measure corresponding to the measure of a loaves of leavened bread. The Gemara asks, but can a matter that was derived by comparison then come back and teach the matter by comparison with regard to consecrated matters? Since the halacha that the loaves of leavened bread of the thanks offering are prepared from 10 tenths of an ephah is itself derived by comparison to the 2 loaves, one can then derive from it that the matzah loaves of the thanks offering consists of 10 tenths of an ephah. The Gemara responds the halacha with that the loaves of leavened bread consist of 10 loaves made from 10 tenths of an ephah is not derived solely by comparison to the 2 loaves. Rather, it is derived from itself as the halacha that there are 10 loaves is stated in the verse concerning the thanks offering. The thanks offering, and from another matter, and any halacha derived from itself, and from another matter is not considered a comparison. Consequently, the halacha with regard to the matzah loaves may be derived from it. The Gemara asks, this works out well according to the one who says that a halacha derived from itself and from another matter does not constitute a comparison, but according to the one who says that a halacha derived from itself and from another matter does constitute a comparison. What is there to say? The Gemara responds, according to that position, that opinion, the halacha that each loaf is prepared from a tenth of an ephah is derived from that which the verse states with regard to the 2 loaves. You shall bring Leviticus 23:17, which is a term of amplification that serves to teach that the loaves of leavened bread of the thanks offering consist of 10 tenths of an ephah of flour. Since this halacha is derived not by comparison but by amplification from the two loaves, one can derive the halacha with regard to the matzah loaves by comparison to the loaves of leavened bread. Okay, that's the Talmud. Now, new Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Hameluim, Oyuboin kematzah shebetoida, Chalois urekikin urechivo. In bracket it says, Urevucha. Urevicha and Urevucha. The loaves that accompanied the ram of the inauguration, the Ayel HaMiluim, of the tabernacle, would come parallel to the three types of matzah that accompany the thanks offering: loaves, wafers, and loaves poached in water and made with oil. See Leviticus 8:26. The loaves of leavened bread that accompany the thanks offering were not brought with the ram of inauguration. Nazirus. Hayabashte yadois kematzah shel toido, chalois urikikin, vein baravucho, nimtzasor kavin Yerushalmis, shehein shisha sroinois, ve'od yain. Ve'od yain. Is it ve'od yain? Or is it ve'od yain? Can't tell. Odion, maybe. Which is 6. I think it's Odion. No, it's not Odion. Anyway, the loaves that accompany the offering that the Nazarite brings upon completion of his period of Nazarite would come only with 2 parts of the 3 types of matzah that accompany the thanks offering, namely loaves and wafers. But there is no matzah poached in water. See Numbers 6:15. Consequently, the loaves of the offering of a Nazarite are from 10 kav of fine flour according to the Jerusalem measure, as taught in the previous Mishnah, that each type of the loaves of matzah come from 5 kav of flour, which equal 6 2/3 of an ephah. According to the wilderness measure, each type of loaf of the loaves of matzah comes from 3 1/3 of an ephah. Whoa. Let's continue. The Gemara says, the Talmud says, Menohanimili, Amar Chizda, Amar Elchaman Bar Guria, Diamar Kram, Yisar Matzos, Asher Pnei Hashem Lokach, Chalas Matzah, Achas, V'chalas Lechem, Shemen Achas, Urekigecha, Bishlem Chalois, Rekik, Shemen Mainin, Ulav, Revucha. The Mishnah teaches that the loaves that accompanied the ram of the inauguration of the tabernacle consisted of 3 types of matzah brought with a thanks offering: loaves, wafers, and loaves poached in water and made with oil. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? It is said that Rav Chaim Bar Guria said it is derived from that which the verse states, and out of the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took 1 unleavened cake and 1 cake of oiled bread and 1 wafer. Leviticus 8:26. Granted, cakes are cakes and wafer is a wafer, but what is oiled bread referring to? Is this not referring to matzah poached in water and made with oil? Maskivla Rav Avia Eiman Tadmishcha Ela Kidorish Rav Nachman Bar Rav Chizda Mishmei de Rabbi Tavla. Ze korban Aaron ubanav asher hu Hashem yoim mamash chol Yisrael. Rav Avia objects to this. One can say that oiled bread is referring to a cake of oil. Rather, derive it as Rav Nachman Bar Rav Chizda taught in the name of Rav Rabbi Tavla, Rav Tavla. The verse states, this is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they bring to the Lord on the day when he is anointed, the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meal offering perpetually. Half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. On a pan it shall be made with oil. When it is poached, you shall bring it in. In broken pieces shall you bring the meal offering for a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And the anointed priest that shall be in his stead from among his sons shall bring it. Leviticus 6:13-15. One can ask, and what have we learned with regard to Aaron's sons, meaning the ordinary priests, from the instructions for the high priest on the day that he is anointed? Rather, the verse juxtaposes the meal offering brought by an ordinary priest during his inauguration with the meal offering brought by the high priest when he is anointed. This juxtaposition teaches that just as the meal offering brought by the high priest when he is anointed is poached in water, so too the meal offering brought by ordinary priest during his inauguration is poached in water. Similarly, the loaves brought with the ram of the inauguration of the tabernacle included loaves poached in water. Amar Rav Chizda Kohen Gadol Hamikarev Le'avodah tzarich shtei asroin eifo achas nimoshchoi achas lechinuchoi. Mar Rav Ashi Amar Shalosh. Concerning the matter of the high priest's meal offering on the day of his inaugural service in the temple, Rav Chizda says, a high priest who approaches the temple service on the day that he is anointed is required to bring 2 meal offerings consisting of 2/10 of an ephah. One for the fact that he is anointed as the high priest and must bring the daily meal offering of the high priest, and one for the inauguration. Mar Barabashi says he requires 3/10 of an ephah. V'lo pligi ha d'avad avoda kishehu kohen hedid ha d'lo avad avoda kishehu kohen hedid. They do not disagree. This one, Rav Chizda, is referring to a high priest who already performed the temple service as an ordinary priest. Accordingly, he has already brought a meal offering for his inauguration as an ordinary priest. He therefore brings only 2/10 of flour, one for his inauguration as a high priest, and one for the daily meal offering of the high priest. And that one, Mar Rav Ashi, is referring to a high priest who has not yet performed his temple service as an ordinary priest. He must therefore bring 3/10, one for his inauguration as an ordinary priest, and one for his inauguration as a high priest, and one for the daily meal offering of the high priest. The Mishnah teaches the loaves that accompany the offering of that offering that the Nazarite brings upon completion of his period of Nazarationship would come only with 2 parts, parallel to the types of matzah that come with the thanks offering, loaves and wafers, but not matzah poached in water. Tanu Rabbanan Shilamov Rabbi Shomit Nazir Solakavin Yushami always sages taught, right? The verse states with regard to the loaves brought with a thanks offering, if he sacrificed for a thanks offering, then he shall sacrifice with the thanks offering unleavened cakes mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers spread with oil, and cakes mingled with oil of the fine flour poached with cakes of leavened bread. He had present his offering with the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanks. Leviticus 7:12-13. His peace offerings serves to include the Nazarite's peace offering in the halachot that its accompanying meal offerings must consist of 10 Jerusalem kav and 1/4 of a log of oil, just like the measurements required for the cakes and wafers of the thanks offering. The writer continues, one might have thought that the verse indicates that the meal offering of the Nazarite's peace offering is equivalent to the loaves of the thanks offering concerning all that is stated with regard to the matter of the thanks offering, and that one brings 3 types of matzah consisting of 15 Jerusalem kav and half a log of oil. Therefore, the verse states with regard to the Nazarite's peace offering and a basket of unleavened bread, loaves of fine flour mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers spread with oil, Numbers 6:15, to indicate as the Nazarite's offering consists only of matzah loaves and matzah wafers, and not matzah poached in water. Ma Talmuda, more clarifies what is the biblical derivation by which the word matzah indicates where was I? Therefore, the Torah states with regard to the Nazarite's peace offering, a basket of unleavened bread, loaves of fine flour mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers spread with oil, Numbers 6:15, to indicate that the Nazarite's meal offering consists only of matzah loaves and matzah wafers, and not matzah poached in water. My Talmud, Amr Babashin, Davar Shinem Bo Amatzos Apuki Rucha, Nemar Bo Matzos, Divari Rabbi Shmael, Tana Matzos, Klal, Chalos, Rikikin, Prat, Klal, Uprat, Ein, Baklal, Elama, Shivaprat, Chalos, Rikikin, Ein, Mediachini law. The Gemara clarifies what is the biblical derivation by which matzah indicates that loaves poached in water are prat. Rav said the verse indicates that the Nazarite brings matzah specifically from an item which is stated matzot. This serves to exclude the loaves poached in water of which is not stated matzot. In addition, the school of Rabbi Yishmael taught unleavened bread is a generalization. Loaves of fine flour mingled with oil and unleavened wafers spread with oil is a detail. When the Torah states a generalization and a detail, the generalization includes only what is in the detail. Therefore, loaves and wafers are included in the Nazarite's meal offering, while other items are not. Okay, we'll stop here. Perfect place to stop, because we'll start again with the new Mishnah on 78b.